In this video episode, I discuss what kind of relations India currently has with the top 30 world powers. I have taken the GDP ranking as per the latest available World Bank data to rank the top 30 countries. Hi, welcome to Das Views, where we learn and discuss something new in every video. The top ranked country as per the GDP is the United States of America. It has a GDP of around 21 trillion US dollars. In the past decade, US has grown closer and currently has a strategic relationship with India. The trade relations between both the countries are improving at a very fast rate. USA is becoming an important defense partner of India through its defense exports. USA is looking to build upon this relationship and be the biggest defense exporter to India, as India looks to diversify its defense reliance on Russia. USA also considers India as an important ally in addressing various Middle East issues such as Afghanistan. The importance of India for US was evident through President Trump's visit in February 2020, which is the election year in the US. President Trump also thanked India for its support by exporting hydroxychloroquine, which is HCQ, which is an effective medicine in the current pandemic. USA is also looking at India as an ally to counter the growing Chinese dominance in Asia and the world. Hence, we can say that the relations between India and USA are good and the prospects look bright into the future. The second country is China with a GDP of around 14.3 trillion US dollars. Relations between India and China has been strictly business oriented in nature. However, lately China has become quite confrontational with its expansionist attitude. Border issues have always existed between India and China, and the two countries even fought a war in 1962 and clashed again in 1967. However, there has been no casualties since then on the either side. But this changed last month as China instigated a clash that resulted in casualties of soldiers on the both sides. These clashes have impaired the current relationship to a great extent, and India has retaliated by posting additional troops in its borders, ready for any eventualities. India also retaliated by cancelling many Chinese contracts in Indian infra and railway projects and banned many Chinese apps popular in the country. There is a possibility that China may retaliate to this action by hurting the trade between both. Apart from this, there have been concerns in India that China is engaging in trade dumping of many goods in India, which is affecting local manufacturers' business. So, the overall current relations can be termed as confrontational and not looking promising into the future. The third largest country is Japan with a GDP of around 5.1 trillion US dollars. Japan's PM Shinzo Abe enjoys good relations with PM Modi on a personal level. Both the countries are key players in the Indo-Pacific region and are part of the Quad or Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, a strategic forum of US, Australia, Japan and India to counter the dominance of China in the Indo-Pacific region. Japan is also keen to improve trade and investment opportunities in India and engage in more military exercises. Japan is also looking to increase its participation in development of key infrastructure projects in India, for example subways and the DMIC. The Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor or DMIC is a $100 billion project carried out by India and Japan. And one should also not forget the $15 billion bullet train project between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. So overall, we can say India's relations with Japan have always been good and are also looking to move up in the future. Fourth country is Germany with GDP of 3.9 trillion US dollars. India was one of the first countries to recognize the Federal Republic of Germany after World War II. Germany is India's largest trading partner in Europe and ranks 7th in foreign direct investments into India. Germany runs the Make in India Mittelstand program since 2015, as per which currently 135 German Mittelstand or MSMEs are interested in entry and investment into India. Germany has also supported India with Euro 120 million for India's Clean Ganga mission. Germany has also pledged around 8,900 crore over 5 years to improve solid and liquid waste management and provide climate-friendly urban transport like the metro in Nagpur, which is the single biggest project of German financial cooperation in India. Overall, we can say Indo-Germany relations are good and looking positive in the future. Fifth country by GDP is India, nearly at 3 trillion US dollars. So we move on to the sixth country, United Kingdom, with GDP of 2.8 trillion US dollars. In UK, the current ruling Conservative Party has more favorable opinion and is closer to India than the opposition Labour Party. This, coupled with stable government in both India and UK, make the prospects look brighter. It is also expected that Brexit will bring the two countries even closer, and trade is expected to pick up momentum. Future relations with China will also play a big role in India-UK relations. It should be noted that UK has been largely supporting India's position at the UN and recently thwarted China's proposal to discuss Kashmir issue at the UN Security Council. India-UK relations looks to be good and improving as we go into an uncertain future. Seventh country is France, currently one of India's best friends in the international arena. France has a GDP of 2.7 trillion US dollars. France is India's most reliable partner on issues such as terrorism. It supports India's bid for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. France won India's tender for fighter plane and its company Dassault Aviation is currently fulfilling the Euro 7.8 billion contract of 36 Rafale fighter planes to India. France also expects to intensify maritime and naval cooperation in the Indian Ocean. It is also a supporter of the International Solar Alliance initiated by PM Modi. Germany and France are expected to be the leading nations through which India can bolster ties with the European Union further. Hence, we can say that the current relations between France and India are excellent and expected to remain same in the near future. Eighth country is Italy with a GDP of 2 trillion US dollars. India's relations with Italy has taken a hit due to the MV Enrica Lexi incident where two Italian soldiers shot and killed two Indian fishermen in 2012. However, after the recent judgment closing that chapter, it is expected that the relations will see a revival. Italy acknowledges the geopolitical and economic importance of India, and both countries are working towards common agenda of addressing connectivity and terrorism. Italy also has around $3 billion of investment through 600 Italian companies in India. However, it should be noted that the China factor may determine future trade and political relations between India and Italy. Hence, overall, the relation between Italy and India are on a recovery path and expected to boom in the future. The country ranking 9th is Brazil with a GDP of $1.8 trillion. Brazil and India are close partners in the BRICS, G4, G20 and IBSA, that is India, Brazil and South Africa forums. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was also the chief guest at India's Republic Day parade in 2020. Brazil is an important trading partner of India in the Latin America, but bilateral trade has been only around $8 billion. Both the countries have defense cooperation agreements in place and have set up a joint defense committee. However, Brazil has some minor issues with Indian government regarding sugarcane subsidies, which is detrimental to Brazil as it is a leading sugar producer in the world. Also, the future of BRICS forum is in doubt due to the ongoing India-China border tensions. Overall, Brazil's relations with India are good, and when certain challenges are addressed, the relations are expected to take off in greater pace in the future. Canada is the 10th country with GDP of 1.7 trillion US dollars. Canada and India have a checkered relation in the past due to issues like Kashmir, Pakistan, Vietnam War, where Canada expected India's support to the US and India's nuclear program. Also, the current Canadian government's indirect support to the Khalistan movement is a worrying factor for India. However, the largest opposition party of Canada favors India more than the ruling party. Canada is now seeking active participation in India and has shown an increased interest in the energy sector. Canada also offers a less restrictive immigration policy, which has facilitated movement of Indian citizens to Canada for employment and business opportunities. So, although the relations between Canada and India are far from ideal, there is a trend of greater future cooperation and boosting of relations between the two countries. Russia, the 11th country with GDP of 1.7 trillion, has been one of the best friends of India since the Soviet era. Russia is a major defense partner of India and sells fighter planes and weapons to India. However, India is looking to diversify its weapons imports to other countries to minimize its reliance on a single country. This was evident from India's purchase of Rafale planes from France. India and Russia are focusing on improving trade from current 11 billion to $25 billion in 2025. However, Russia is also wary of India's growing ties with the US and its current border tensions with China, which is a close trading partner of Russia. Hence, although the India-Russia relations have always been excellent, the future remains in doubt. I am of the view that both countries respect each other's growth ambition and will always maintain strong ties no matter whatever side each side takes. 12th country is South Korea with a GDP of 1.6 trillion. India-Korea relations has always been on the good side since India played a major role in ceasefire in the 1950 Korean War between South and North Korea. Korea is a major player in India's Act East policy, which is India's decision to reach out and bolster ties with East Asian countries. The current bilateral trade between Korea and India is at $21 billion and both countries have set a target of $50 billion by 2030. India's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan can take inspiration and learnings from Korea's New Village movement in the 1970s, which was very effective. Both countries share a growing cultural bond with tales like a Korean king marrying the princess of Ayodhya, and Koreans also have a deep respect for Rabindranath Tagore, who penned a beautiful short poem for Korea. Overall, we can say that the relations are good and expected to be better in future. 13th country is Spain with GDP of 1.4 trillion. Although India and Spain have cordial relations, there has been minimal trading activity historically. However, an increase in tourism and person-to-person contact has resulted in an increase in bilateral trade by 9% to $6.3 billion in 2018. Indian exports stands at $4.8 billion. Sushma Swaraj, the then External Affairs Minister of India, was also conferred Grand Cross of Order of Civil Merit Award by Spain for rescuing 71 Spanish internationals in the 2015 Nepali earthquake. While the current relations are normal, it is expected that Brexit may change this dynamic and both India and Spain will strengthen their relations in the future. 14th country is Australia with a GDP of 1.4 trillion. India-Australia bilateral trade was 27 billion Australian dollars, which comprised of 3.6% of Australian trade in 2018. Both the countries have shown commitment to restart the Australia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement and the Mutual Logistic Support Agreement, which will enable both militaries to use the bases of each other. Both the countries also have a shared vision for a maritime cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. Both Australia and India are part of the Quad, that is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. The other countries in this are USA and Japan. This forum is being designed as a counter to China's expansionist policies and dominance in Asia. So overall, both Australia and India share good relations, which is expected to improve in the coming times. The 15th country in this list is Mexico, also pronounced as Mexico, with GDP of 1.3 trillion. Mexico was the first Latin American country to recognize India after its independence. Many roads and schools in Mexico are named after Mahatma Gandhi, like in India. Gandhiji statues also adorn many Mexican cities. Mexico is India's largest trading partner in the Latin America. It is also a favorite of many Indian companies to set up offshore operations. The bilateral trade grew in 2019 by 22% to $10 billion. Both the countries are also into space cooperation through MOUs between ISRO and Mexican Space Agency. However, there are some differences over non-proliferation and United Nations Security Council membership. Overall relations with India are good and looking positive into the future. 16th country and the last one in $1 trillion GDP club is Indonesia. India and Indonesia share more than 2000 years of cultural and trading history. Both enjoy shared culture, colonial history and tolerant democracies. Although 87% of the country are Muslims and Hindus only comprise less than 2%, Indonesians, including their Muslims, have a great degree of respect towards Hindu gods like Ganesha. Some Indonesian currencies and learning institutes have Ganesha's picture in their logo. Indonesia is one of the largest trade partner of India in the ASEAN region. Bilateral trade grew in 2019 to 21 billion from only 4 billion in 2006. Both the countries also have agreements to bolster marine resources in the Indian Ocean. So overall the relations with Indonesia are also good and looking good into the future. 17th is Netherlands. Bilateral trade between both the nations was 9 billion in 2018. Around 200 Indian companies operate in Netherlands, and Netherlands is the third largest investor in India. Netherlands also supports India in its bid for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Both the countries share common concerns regarding climate action, cybersecurity, and terrorism. Both the countries are also keen on increasing ties on wastewater management, smart city development, and green engineering. Overall, relations between both the nations is good. The 18th country is Saudi Arabia. It is India's fourth largest trading partner, and bilateral trade was $34 billion in 2019. Saudi is also investing $44 billion to set up Ratnagiri refinery in Maharashtra. PM Modi was conferred Saudi's highest civilian honor in 2016. Both the nations have agreement in place to share intelligence to boost counter-terrorism in the region. Saudi rejects any third-party interference in the internal matters of India. Saudi is also looking to shift away from an oil-based economy, and India presents an attractive opportunity for that. Hence, the relation between both the nations are good and set to grow in future. 19th is Turkey. India and Turkey have enjoyed cordial relations and trade historically, even though Turkey tilts towards Pakistan. The bilateral trade between both India and Turkey was 9 billion in 2018. However, the relations have somewhat become negative after Turkish President Erdogan spoke publicly about Kashmir in many international forums. This is a strategy by President Erdogan, who is styling himself as an Islamic leader and trying to create an alternate Islamic nation grouping of Turkey, Pakistan, Malaysia, etc. As a result, India has retaliated by cutting defense exports and by reducing imports from Turkey. India has also sealed a defense deal with Armenia and is bolstering ties with Greece, both nations that have issues with Turkey. However, in the recent times, there seemed to be some kind of resetting of ties and bringing normalcy back, as India is going ahead with the $2.3 billion shipyard deal with Turkey. Hence, to sum it up, the India-Turkey relations took a massive U-turn for the worse in the past 1 year, and the future is not yet clear. 20th country is Switzerland. India and Switzerland signed a treaty of friendship in 1948. Swiss FDI in India has grown to around $8 billion during 2005 to 2016. There are more than 250 Swiss companies operating in India. Both the nations see a potential in areas such as life sciences, clean technology, medtech, precision engineering, fintech, etc. India is also facilitating entry of Swiss SMEs into the Indian market. Both the nations have signed numerous bilateral agreements on trade, education, technology, and most importantly, taxation, as per which the Swiss government started sharing Swiss bank accounts info with the Indian government since the past 1 year. So the relations are set to grow in the future. 21st is Poland. The relations between India and Poland, though cordial, has not materialized to its expected potential. However, there is an opportunity as both countries are ruled by right-wing parties, BJP in India and PIS in Poland. Poland's ruling party supports India's stand on Kashmir and terrorism. Poland also supports India's bid for the UN Security Council permanent seat and also to reform the UN Security Council. India has also supported Poland's bid for a non-permanent seat at the UNSC in the past. Poland was also one of the sponsors to a resolution to list Masood Azhar of JEM as a global terrorist. So overall, there is a good opportunity for both nations currently to bolster their relations trade-wise and also politically. 22nd is Thailand. India-Thailand relations are rooted in history, culture, religion and social interactions. India's Act East policy complements Thailand's Act West policy. Bilateral trade between both was 12 billion in 2019. Both nations have defense cooperation and conduct joint military and maritime exercises in the Indo-Pacific. The US trade war is also expected to bolster India-Thailand trade relations. Tourism is also an area which can be improved a lot, especially Thailand's tourists to India. Relations look positive into the future. 23rd in the list is Sweden. Diplomatic ties between both were established in 1949 and both nations have cordial relations with each other. Sweden supported India's entry to the Missile Technology Control Regime and supports India's entry to the nuclear suppliers group. Both the countries have equal bilateral investments. Bofors guns used by the Indian Army was purchased from Sweden. However, Sweden tilts toward Pakistan on the Kashmir issue, which is a pain point for India. So overall, the relation between India and Sweden are going to continue with slight improvement in trade. 24th is Belgium. Belgium was one of the first European countries to establish diplomatic relations with India. India is Belgium's second largest export destination and third largest trade partner outside the EU. Diamond trade constitutes more than 50% of the bilateral trade between Belgium and India. Belgium supports India's bid for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Various MOUs have been signed between the both nations in the area of science and technology and education. There is also an interest shown by both to diversify trade relations and explore new areas of cooperation for which the future looks hopeful. The 25th country is Venezuela. Venezuela maintains cordial relations with India and has shown support and cooperation in multilateral forums. Venezuela has also been one of India's largest oil suppliers until the US sanctions on the countries affected the trade. Due to these sanctions, Venezuela expects a reduction in oil import by India. Due to India's historical cordial relations, India has still not shown support to America's action of de-recognizing Nicolas Maduro as the president of Venezuela. Although Venezuela is going through an uncertain and difficult period due to heavy sanctions by the US, it is expected that the relations with India will remain cordial into the future unless something drastic happens. 26th is Argentina. Although Argentina and India are strategic partners, the trade potential has remained largely untapped. Indians know very little about Argentina apart from the fact that it is quite good in football and has stars like Maradona and Messi. Soybean oil makes up 90% of Argentina's export, and hence the focus is on diversification of trade. Efforts are on to promote tourism and people-to-people connect between both nations. However, structural reforms are needed to increase each other's investment. Argentina is also wary of China's debt trap diplomacy and expects India to be a countering force. Hence, if correct steps are taken by India, relations can become promising in nature. 27th is Nigeria. India and Nigeria are natural democratic partners. Both share similar colonial history as both were colonies of the UK. India is largest trading partner of Nigeria and Nigeria is the largest trading partner in Africa. Bilateral trade was 14 billion in 2019 and Indian companies are second largest employer in Nigeria. Potential areas of trading and cooperation are technology, agriculture, mining and manufacturing. However, China has emerged as a major player in Nigeria and this is an issue for India. But Nigeria is also wary of China's debt trap diplomacy and expects India to be a countering force. So overall, relations with Nigeria are good. 28th is Austria. Both nations enjoy warm and friendly relations. There are regular exchange of high-level visits between both nations. Trade has grown at a fast rate in the last 5 years and is currently at 2 billion euros. Austria's first 2 satellites were launched by ISRO in 2013. There has been a growing cultural exchange recently. This is evident through artist performance and Bollywood filming and movies in theatres. Overall, relations are on an upward trend. 29th country is Iran. Historic relations between India and Iran have always been fantastic. However, India has stopped buying oil from Iran, which is facing US sanctions. India's moving closer to Saudi, UAE and Israel has also annoyed nations like Iran and Turkey. Iran is also annoyed with the slow progress on the Chabahar port project which India has been developing since 2003. These actions have made Iran move away by using the Kashmir issue as an excuse. Continued US sanctions and causing up to Pakistan cast a serious doubt over India-Iran ties. The last country on this list is also one of India's growing best friends. It is United Arab Emirates, which has cities like Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Both nations enjoy strong bilateral relations traditionally. UAE is India's third largest trade partner. While there is a bilateral trade of $60 billion, UAE has committed an investment of $75 billion in India. The relation between both has shifted from a buyer-seller to a comprehensive strategic partnership in the last 4 years. PM Modi also enjoys good relations with UAE Crown Prince, and both have referred to each other as brothers. PM Modi was also awarded UAE's highest civilian honor, the Order of Jayed Award. UAE recognizes the big non-oil market offered by India and also India's oil needs and wishes to be a key partner in both. Hence, relations between India and UAE looks very promising into the future. An honorable mention should be that of Taiwan. It is not recognized by the United Nations and hence is not in the World Bank's list. However, if it were, it would be in the 21st position. Because Taiwan is not a part of UN and as India recognizes China's One China policy, India doesn't maintain official diplomatic relations with Taiwan. However, unofficially, relations are maintained through a representative office, Taiwan Economic and Cultural Center in India. Unofficial relations with Taiwan have increased in breadth and depth over the years. Bilateral trade was 7.5 billion in 2019, up from 1 billion in 2000. Taiwan is increasingly interested in shifting business ties from China to India. As India took the chair of the World Health Assembly last month, Taiwan is hopeful of getting admitted as an observer. The current environment may see greater ties between the both countries. So this was a brief digest on India's relations with the top 30 countries. Please keep in mind that international relations are very complex in nature and hence I have tried to cover only the most important aspects while discussing the concerned country. Hence there might be a chance that I may have missed some important points, but I have tried to discuss as objectively as possible. Do you agree with the information provided in this video? Let me know through your comments and have a great day.